Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to share something very personal with you, something that really changed the way I think, the way I live, and the way I see myself. Yes, it is about a book, but not just any book. One book that truly changed my life. I remember the day I first picked up this book. I was sitting in my small room, feeling lost and confused. I had so many questions in my mind. Questions about life, about success, about happiness. I didn't have all the answers, and honestly, I was a little scared. Life felt big, and I felt small. Then I saw this book. Its cover was simple, nothing flashy, but something inside me said, pick it up, just try. And I did. And friends, from the first page, I felt something different. It was as if someone was speaking directly to me, telling me, it's okay, you can do this, you are enough. The first lesson I learned from this book was about self-belief. I remember reading a line that said something like, your mind is your greatest power. Believe in it, and you can change your life. I had never thought of it this way before. I always blamed my circumstances. I thought, I don't have the right school. I don't have enough money. I don't have the right connections. But this book made me stop and think. It made me ask myself, what can I control? What is really mine? And slowly, I realized something powerful. I can control my thoughts. I can control my actions. And that is where real change begins. After reading that, I decided to try small things differently. I started waking up early. I wrote down my goals. Not big, scary goals, just small steps, like today I will read one page of a book, or today I will smile at a stranger. It may sound simple, but these small changes started building confidence in me. I started feeling a little more in control, a little more hopeful. The second thing I learned from this book was about facing fear. Before, I used to avoid challenges. I used to say, I can't do this. It's too hard. What if I fail? But the book said something like, fear is a signal. It shows where you need to grow. Step forward, and the fear will follow you. I remember the first time I tried this. I wanted to speak in front of my class. My hands were shaking. My heart was racing. I felt like running away. But I remembered the book. I took a deep breath and I spoke. My voice was small at first, but I finished. And when I finished, I felt proud, really proud. I realized that fear was not my enemy. Fear was a guide. Another lesson from the book was about gratitude. I had never thought much about being grateful. I always focused on what I didn't have. But this book taught me to notice the small things. A warm cup of tea, a friend who listens, a sunny morning. Even small things are beautiful. I started writing a gratitude journal. Every day, I wrote 3 things I was grateful for. At first, it felt awkward, but slowly it became natural. And I noticed something amazing. Life felt lighter. I was happier. I was smiling more. I realized that happiness is not about big events. It is about noticing the little joys. Friends, this book also taught me about failure. I always feared failure. I thought it meant I was weak. But the book said, failure is not the end. It is a lesson. Every failure brings you closer to success. I remember failing my first big exam. I felt devastated. I cried. I thought I would never succeed. But then I remembered the book. I thought, what can I learn from this? I looked at my mistakes, I studied harder, and the next time, I did better. That moment changed my perspective. Failure was no longer scary, it was a teacher. One of the most important lessons I learned was about time. I used to waste hours scrolling on my phone, watching random videos, or thinking about nothing. The book said, "Your time is your life. Spend it wisely." I started planning my day, not in a strict way, just simple plans. I decided I will read for 30 minutes. I will take a walk. I will call a friend. And slowly, I noticed my life was changing. I felt productive. I felt proud. I felt alive. Another thing the book taught me was about kindness. I always thought, I have problems, why should I care about others? But the book said, helping others helps yourself. Kindness is a circle. Give it, and it will come back to you. So I started small. I helped a neighbor carry groceries. I listened to a friend who was sad. I smiled at strangers. And you know what? It felt amazing. Life felt warmer. People smiled back, and I felt connected. The book also made me reflect on dreams and goals. I had dreams, yes, but I didn't take them seriously. I thought, dreaming is nice, but reality is hard. But the book said, a dream without action is just a wish. Take one step today. I started writing my goals, simple goals like learning a new skill, finishing a book, or helping someone. Each small step felt like a victory. Slowly, I began believing in my own abilities. I realized that action is more important than perfection. Friends, one day I realized something beautiful. This book didn't just teach me lessons. It changed my mindset. It changed the way I see life. I started noticing opportunities instead of problems. I started seeing possibilities instead of limits. And most importantly, I started believing in myself. I want to share one story with you. A few months after reading the book, I had an opportunity to help organize a small community event. Before, I would have said, I can't do it. But this time, I remembered the lessons: believe, act, face fear. I said yes. I worked hard and the event was a success. People appreciated it. I felt proud. And I realized this confidence, this courage, came from reading one simple book. Now, I don't want you to think that reading a book alone will solve all your problems. Life is not that simple. But a book can ignite change. It can plant a seed in your mind, and that seed, if nurtured, can grow into something amazing. I have read many books since then, but this one will always have a special place in my heart. It taught me about life, about myself, about hope. And most importantly, it taught me that change begins from within. So, dear friends, if you haven't found a book that inspires you, I encourage you to keep searching. Pick up books, explore ideas, listen to stories, and reflect on your own life. You never know which page might change your life. You never know which sentence might spark a new thought. Before we end, I want to leave you with a small exercise. Take a notebook or even a phone note. Write down one thing you learned today, one thing you are grateful for, one small action you will take tomorrow. Start with small steps. That is how change begins. I hope my story inspires you to read, to learn, and to take small steps towards a better life. Remember, life is a journey. We all face challenges, doubts, and fears. But every day is a chance to become a little better, a little stronger, and a little happier. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I hope it gives you courage to read, to learn, and to take small steps towards a better life. Remember, one book, one idea, one moment can truly change your life. Until next time, Keep believing in yourself, keep dreaming, and keep taking steps forward. Life is waiting, and so are your possibilities.